Yeah! Whoa! They the Warriors, baby. They the Warriors. Check this here. I'm up off it. From the counter. I was just about to go in there. What's up, my people? This is ShowBizz, the adult. All right, man, look, we're the Warriors. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence agreeing to fight each other. Oops! All right, man, look. Let's get to the video. We're the Warriors. Terrence Crawford tweeting to Errol Spence, hey, you better pick up the phone. Terrence Crawford gets on the horn, calls Errol Spence. Errol Spence? Hello? Whoa! 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 That's what I'm talking about. And you know what? Let this be a lesson. Let this be a lesson to all the fanboys out there. Those guys are warriors. Saying, Errol Spence, he's afraid of Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Bud Crawford, he's afraid of Errol Spence. You're only saying that because you don't understand what being a warrior is all about, what makes those guys tick. I never said that one was afraid of the other. Never. There may be priorities. Maybe Errol Spence is prioritizing Manny Pacquiao over Terrence Crawford, but he ain't afraid of that boy. Errol Spence has said from the very beginning that he wants to be undisputed. Let me tell you something. Terrence Crawford, you know he's been wanting to be undisputed at 140 and 147. Them boys, everybody fanboying. Let me tell you something, man. Those guys are warriors. Stop the fanboying. Thanos. You know, the funny thing is, with all of the Twitter beef, the Twitter wars, and Terrence Crawford terrorizing Errol Spence, saying, hey, man, come fight me. Terrence Crawford really needed an opponent. He really did, and he was tired of all the mess, okay? He doesn't have an opponent of true value. Maybe Jose Ramirez. I think they're thinking of something like that. Who else he may have? I'm not even sure. I mean, the Shara Porter fight, something like that. So he was frustrated, okay? Terrorizing Errol Spence on Twitter. But here's the thing. Errol Spence, he ain't running from nobody. Thanos. Whatever their conversation was, Errol Spence got Terrence Crawford's respect. Terrence Crawford tweeting out, he's a real dude. He got Terrence Crawford's respect. Whatever he said, Terrence Crawford, he felt it. Errol Spence ain't afraid of that boy. And let me tell you what that reminds me of. When it comes to them outside of the public's eye, outside of the cameras and the flashing lights, even the ring itself, when those two warriors, when real look at real and then they recognize each other and the other one's looking familiar, that reminds me of Rocky 2. You guys remember Rocky 2 when Rocky and Apollo Creed was in the hospital? Rocky, he knocks on Apollo Creed's door. Come in. Apollo Creed is laying up in a bed. Remember that? Rocky got bandages over his eye, and he said, hey, may I ask you something? And Apollo Creed said, yeah. Rocky said, did you give me your best? And Apollo Creed said, yeah. Hell yeah. When it comes down to it, when everything is stripped away, now both of those guys on the phone, real recognized real. They threw away all the antics, the name calling. They got on the horn like men. Let me tell you something, man. Errol Spence, I was wondering if he understood Keith Thurman. I was wondering in this position, now that Terrence Crawford is shooting for him, I was wondering if he could at least understand why Keith Thurman was responding to Errol Spence that way. When Errol Spence was shooting for Keith Thurman, the way Errol Spence responded to Terrence Crawford, he still don't understand Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman was altogether different. Errol Spence and Keith Thurman was under the same banner, same umbrella. The fight was easier to make than Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. And here's the thing, not to say that Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence is even hard to make. PBC and Top Rank, they have business. They're doing business together. But Keith Thurman and Errol Spence was easy to make. It was. Another thing is, Keith Thurman wasn't even trying to hear Errol Spence's name. But he jumped all over that Pacquiao fight, knowing that Pacquiao was longer in the tooth, knowing that Pacquiao was an undersized welterweight. That's different than Errol. Errol Spence, he prioritized the big fight with Manny Pacquiao, but he doesn't mind that smoke with Terrence Bud Crawford. Why? Because he wants to be undisputed and one of the greatest ever, and so does Terrence Crawford. Those boys going to fight each other. Now we got to talk about timeline. We got to talk about dates now. They're not going to fight each other next. They're not going to fight each other next. Errol Spence, he may take on the IBF guy. I know he wants the IBF mandatory Abduka Horov. He may want him. He may have to, not even want him. He may have that fight. But I know he wants Manny Pacquiao. I think that Manny Pacquiao-Errol Spence fight can definitely happen. But if not that fight, he may have to go ahead and satisfy. He has to keep his IBF strap. After that, I think he takes on Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford, what does he do? Twiddle his thumbs? No, he got to fight. It may be, I'm still thinking about that Jose Ramirez. That's an easy fight. I know Jose Ramirez at 140, but I'm just saying, just to keep his hands wet. Maybe something like how Floyd Mayweather fought Marquez. It may be one of those deals. Or Terrence Crawford may take on that Sean Porter fight if he's really going to be a beast. But with that said, they're not going to fight each other next. Also, it kind of echoes what I was hearing when Errol Spence wasn't even out the hospital yet, when they were talking about Terrence Crawford then. I'm going to wrap this up by saying this. We got to stop the fanboying because it's embarrassing. Respect both of those guys. Those guys want to fight each other. Just sit back as fans and enjoy the road. Enjoy the fight. Enjoy the cinema. Enjoy what's being played out in front of you. Stop choosing sides to the point where we're capping. We need to stop capping. Those boys ain't afraid of each other. And I'm going to tell you this. ShowBizz the adult. I'm about to shoot this from the corner. I'm up off now. I was this close. I'm out. Huh.